temple of goddess Isis, the temple of Philae. The temple here, it has been totally reconstructed. We knew that after building the dam in Aswan, the high dam in Aswan, all the temples which are located behind the dam was all flooded. The original location for this temple, it was on an island nearby here. It was a massive project to cut the temple into small blocks and then numbering it to make sure that we're not losing many of the blocks in the bottom part of the Nile. Doesn't mean that we got all the blocks back in the new location. There's a few blocks that's still on the bottom part of the Nile. We chose a nearby location, another island, which is called the Agilika Island. And we started moving the temple to the new location. If you look at the temple itself, like you look at the color, the temple, it looks like as it's being washed. Even the temple had stayed under the water for a long time, but the hieroglyphic, the inscriptions on the wall, it's still in good condition up till today. Imagine that people, they used to come to see the temple till 1970 or till 1980. They used to come to visit the temple by the motorboat just to see the top parts of the columns. This temple is one of those temples which it dates back to the Greco-Roman time. It's not the ancient Egyptian temples. How do we distinguish between the ancient Egyptian style for building a temple and the Roman or the Greco-Roman style for building a temple? It's by one easy thing to notice. Just have a look at the top parts of the columns. The top parts of the columns, they look like the palm fronts. And each column looks different from the top part, looks different from the one which is right next to it. They don't look similar. The ancient Egyptian style of building the temples, they have the lotus or the papyrus. The lotus and the papyrus, they are the two symbols of Lower and Upper Egypt. And that's how we distinguish, or how we say, this is a Greek-Roman style building a temple, or this is an ancient Egyptian temple dating back to the ancient Egyptian time. Two different colors to notice here at the columns or at the temple. The black color, which it comes from the sill, and the reddish color. The black and the reddish color, it comes from the bottom part of the Nile. It's all fresh water here. After building the dam in Aswan, all the temples behind it was all flooded. And we weren't expecting this to happen. But they were like a national project, a very important project for the Egyptians at this time to generate power. It was very important for the Egyptians to take the decision to build the high dam in Aswan. Actually, we've got two dams here. We've got the old dam, the bridge which we saw nearby the motorboats, and we've got the high dam or the new dam which it was built in the 1960s, was finished in 1971, to generate power, to reorganize the agriculture season, and to stop the lands from being drowned or submerged during the flood season. The disadvantages of building the high dam here in Aswan, it's losing the sill, which is stopped now behind the dam, which it used to be very good for the land fertility. One of the disadvantages of building the dam here in Aswan is flooding the temples, which it dates back to the ancient Egyptian time, and it's more than 2,000 years old. The whole temple here, it's built during the Roman time. So the construction we're looking at, it's built during the Roman time. But the early story of building this temple, it's started in the ancient Egyptian time by a king called Moses III. The scene here, it's starting first with showing here the Ptolemaic kings. He's collecting the hair of the enemies, as he wanted to say, I will defend your country from the enemies. He's doing this scene in front of goddess Isis. Goddess Isis, she is the goddess of love according to the ancient Egyptian belief. Who's goddess Isis? What's the story behind? That's what we're going to understand in a minute. I need 2 men, please, to help me, and 2 ladies.